Hey everyone, Ben here and welcome to what I think is one of the toughest challenges of the Formula 3 season on iRacing. We're at the Hungaroring for an 18-lap race. The track is tight, it's twisty and it's bumpy and the margin for error is very small. We're starting in the top 10 though. Can we make progress from here? Okay, then we're on the grid. We've qualified in P9 of a 1.9k split. The lights have gone red, we're waiting for green and we are underway, and we get a decent start compared to the cars around us, in particular compared to Thomas Tarnowski up ahead in the Ferrari liveried car. We're going to be alongside him, but I know I've got Shanini on my inside as well. We're 3 wide heading into the braking zone of T1, a big lockup up ahead. Thankfully no accidents up ahead of us, so we're able to hold position alongside Shanini. In fact, I think I might have gained the spot there off the start because Tarnowski is in our rear view. A slight connection issue for Chris Rich up ahead. We're side by side meanwhile with Shanini. I'm going to have to concede that position, so we're up into 8th position. Tarkovsky fancies that position back. Surely we're not going to go side by side through the left-hander here. Thankfully he thinks better of it. I'm able to hold the car through the corner and we're able to consolidate position. Then through the right-hander we go into the highly technical middle sector of this lap. Such a punishing lap, this one, in these Formula 3 cars. A real test of concentration. But where has Chris Rich gone? He's reappeared back on track. That must have put Lucas Shanini off there. He's drifted wide. Potentially he's got himself a slowdown penalty. At the very least he is going to have dirty tyres from being off track. He's all over the place. As we come through the right-hander, we're going to have a big chance here. I'm going to commit to diving down the inside of the next right-hander. Here we go. Hit the apex, keep the car nice and tight, give him space on the outside, and we've made the position ours. We'll be up then into 7th position, and look in the rear view behind us. Shanini has slid off the track. He's had a nightmare first lap of this race. We're coming through the final corner then, following Chris Rich up ahead. We've got Thomas Tarnowski behind us. We're going to be in 7th position. What a fantastic opening lap then to this race for me, but lots of drama all around us on track. Here we go. Look back at T1, 3 wide, and you can see it's Chris Rich up ahead who locks up. Thankfully he's able to keep the car pointing in the right direction, and then towards the end of the lap, this is the move on Shanini down the inside. He's recovering, remember, from that slight off in the middle of the lap, and he just pushes too hard into the penultimate corner and he ends up looping the car. We rejoin the live action then on lap 2, and unfortunately for me, Matthias Arguella is coming through the field at one hell of a pace. He's a 4.8k rated driver, so he's going to have some fantastic pace. He's also the number 1 car in this race, so I'm not going to be expecting to hold him off for too long. And just as I say that, he's made a late dive down the inside as we get towards the end of lap 2 here. We're side by side on exit. I'm not going to just let him have this position. I'm going to try and hold the inside of the next corner. We're still side by side as we head into the final corner lap. Oh, he gives me a big squeeze off to the left hand side of the track, and that then confirms him up into 7th position. But I'm going to be in his slipstream as we cross the start finish line onto lap 3. You can see I'm gaining here all the way down the start finish straight. He pulls to the inside to defend, and it looks as if he's got me covered off. I'm not going to be able to get around the outside of T1. I have to swoop back onto the apex to stop Tarnowski thinking about getting down my inside. Let's take a quick look at that action on replay then. You can see it's a great move down my inside initially from Arguella, but then I'm able to hold it through the next couple of corners. We're side by side, and you can see controlled aggression here from the other driver. He just pushes me out to the outside line through the final corner of the lap, and that's enough to make the position his. We're on to lap 7 then, and so far the gaps have started to extend between drivers in the top 10 of this race. So we're holding on to 8th position, and I'm trying to push as hard as I can, but really there's a bit of a stalemate at this stage of the race, and what you don't want to do at this stage is push too hard. Yes, I need to remain in contention with the drivers up ahead, but it's at this point of the race really where you can start to make some silly mistakes. But the lap we're riding on board with now is actually going to be my quickest of the race. I'm feeling like I'm in a really good groove at this point of the race. Here we go then, through the very fast left-hander, clip the inside curb, let the car drift out wide, and then you've just got to trail brake through this right-hander. And when you get it right, when you hook the car up through this part of the track, it feels fantastic. It feels like you're on rails. Again, clip the two apexes through the tight chicane there, run the car out wide, but not too wide, otherwise you've got a one-way ticket to the barrier. And then it's all about patience. This next section of the track, you've got to carry as much speed as you can through these corners, but any drift out wide, any missed apex, and you're going to cost yourself so much time. So it's all about judging just how much speed to carry, how to get the car turned in as we do through the right-hander here, and we're approaching the final couple corners of the lap. And actually we make up a big chunk of time here on our previous best as we come through the left-hander, and in particular into the last corner of the lap. Very, very tricky corner this. You've got to try and get the car rotated on the gas as early as you can. We gain a couple of tenths through that corner and we'll land a 1:39 flat. Now don't get me wrong, that's no world record time, but I was pretty happy with that as race pace, and for the rest of the race we were really in the low 1:39s throughout. That was enough then as we got on to lap 11 for me to be close enough to the cars up ahead in the top 10, while able to repeat this pace without accident, to be able to start profiting when other drivers like Kaminski up ahead started making mistakes. Let's have a look at what happened and what's brought Kaminski back into play for me in this race. And a big spin there as he got out on the curbs through the exit of the very fast left-hander. Yes, he's joined ahead of us, but he's now within my sights as we get into the second half of this race. I've been closing the gap very slowly to the driver up ahead, and there he makes another mistake. Yellow flag's out. He's off to the left-hand side. He's ripped the front of the car off as he's piled into the barrier, and again he's just pushed too hard. He's clipped the curb on the inside. That's pushed him onto the grass verge, and at that point he's just a passenger. On to lap 14 then, we're up into P7 and I'm trying to put pressure on Rich up ahead, but to be honest he's had a very big gap to us, but he has caused himself all kinds of problems. He's made another mistake at a similar point in the track and we're going to profit once again and be up into the top 6. There's more fighting going on behind me here as we come through the chicane, but that is great news for me. Let's take a look on replay what kind of mistake this was. Actually it's on the other side of the track. He just gets his tyres onto the grass. That's enough to unsettle the car, and luckily for him there's a big runoff area there rather than a wall. But you can see he rejoins there side by side with the driver behind, and actually he's going to lose 2 positions from that mistake. On to lap 15 then, that was Kagan Scott getting past Rich. He's now the driver directly behind us and he is reeling me in, so I'm beginning to feel a little bit of pressure from behind, and as we come into the last corner it begins to show. I make quite a big mistake and I'm just able to hold the car through the corner, but there's a great example of how actually on the edge these cars can feel through this tight and technical circuit. A very small mistake but a significant one, and he's going to try and capitalise here. A late Daniel Ricciardo style dive bomb down my inside. We're side by side through the corner. Thankfully he was able to hold it on the apex. I was a bit frightened there he was going to come ploughing into me. He's still side by side through the next left-hander. Very tight racing here, just a car's width for me to fit into. He's going to have the high ground through the next corner, and unfortunately we've lost 6th position. Let's see it again on replay then. You can see this was a great overtake. He's just able to hold it. A slight lockup on the inside. It gives me a chance to try and fight back on the exit of the corner, but he's very brave around the outside. He gives me just enough room on the inside, but then he's got the advantage into the next corner and I have to settle in just behind him. Meanwhile, behind me on track, a fantastic bit of action as Tarkovsky was passed by Caltier coming through the field. A little bit too much weaving from the Ferrari liveried car up ahead for my liking, but Caltier doesn't get put off. He's able to get down the inside and hold the position to get up into 8th place. We're on to the final lap, however. Through the final corner, we're going to hold 7th position. I couldn't fight back over the last couple of laps against Scott, so 7th it is, and that is a very decent finish in a pretty strong grid at an extremely challenging circuit. We're able to hold on to our place in the 2K club. Mathematicians amongst you will notice that we've actually lost a bit of iRating this week. I had a bit of a disastrous first outing here on this track, but we've managed to make good on that. We're going to come home with a good top 10 finish. You can see there our pace was okay, but probably this was about as good as we were going to get from this combination. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, I think you'll really like the one that's on screen now.